Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you back, and I want to use this opportunity to congratulate you because we're done with basics within quotation marks of Java, and now we're moving towards more complicated stuff. So we introduced ourselves to Java and set up our environment. We're done with Hello World program, which means we're dedicated. We started learning Java, and we're not gonna we're not gonna stop until we know Java. Variables, the basics of the foundation of the programming language is taken care of, and operators. Now we're going to look at more serious stuff. We're moving towards section 2 and onwards. We're going to look at more serious stuff. This time we're going to look at the concept of input and output. Before we proceed any further, I want to remind you of what computers are all about. What are computers, right? Computers are devices that compute, right? But how does this computation happen? What happens is, if you remember in the beginning, we said in step number 1, we provide some kind of an input to the machine. This is a keyboard, I'm typing, and it is going as an input. This is a mouse, this can be a mouse, this can be a camera, this can be a microphone, this can be a sensor of some kind, this can be a file being fed, this can be a scanner scanning photos, etc. Right? So we have an input, step number 1. Step number 2, we have a storage. So this input is stored somewhere in computer memory. That's why every time, remember, we declare variables, we say that variables have memory allocations. Every time we input a variable, it has a storage associated with it, right? Then comes the process that is called computation, correct? So this is where all this stuff happens in the background, which we do not see. It's not visible to human eye. It's known by developers, but it's not visible. So what is this computation is all about? We did arithmetic operators, right? So arithmetics or mathematics. Things are added, things are subtracted, multiplied, divided, remainders are found, whatever. There are certain logical operators that are happening in the background. So if we input this, that's going to happen. If the storage is out of memory, this is going to happen. The whole 9 yards. These are logical operations, and etc. So these computations happen in the background, and as a result, we get output. Okay. Now, if you remember, every time we said system out println some message, what did we get? We got an output, okay? But how did we get that output? We input with our keyboard this code, it was stored, it was computed, and it was output, okay? So actually, we started looking into system.out or Java's output before we looked at anything really else, right? Because we started Hello World program with system out println. So in this short video, what we wanted to remind you is all this is what computation is all about. When we looked at the system.out.println, we actually triggered the output and we programmed an output to our liking. In the future videos, we're going to look at input. How can we change? Well, how can we give our users the right to input something so we output something accordingly? So we're going to take, next step is we're going to take input from the user, do this stuff on our own, and then show the user the result. Okay? So I'm excited to greet you again, and we're moving forward. See you then.